Hey guys, it's Alyssa, and today I'm going to be taking y'all along the process of our apartment hunt. And when I say our, I mean me and my cousin. We're hoping to move in together. That said, we did not settle on any of these apartments. I'm just gonna preface that from the beginning. We do have one that we would have picked that we like the best, but we're still figuring out our job situation. We both did just graduate, so yeah, we didn't want to sign a lease on anything until we know exactly where we're going to be living. That said, we were looking all over DFW, so the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So now we're going to head over to my Notion page where I put down some like must-haves, wants, and then our budget. So must-haves: 2-bed, 2-bath. We both want our separate spaces. And then something a little bit newer. As much as I love the charm of like older places, I have lived in an environment that had mold and resulted in some health issues. So we don't want to perpetuate that problem. And then safe location, pretty self-explanatory. And then finally, washer, dryer, and unit. Honestly, in Texas, this is pretty easy to find. I think there was maybe one place we looked at where it was just in the building rather than like our unit. But yeah. And then moving on to our wants, the first one is a balcony. I've always wanted a balcony. I didn't have one at my college apartment, so I think that would be really cool. Equal size bedrooms. This is almost on the needs, or what do I call it? On the must-haves, but we don't really want to have like one person have the master and one person have the guest. We want them to be equal. And then white/lighter kitchen. Basically, I don't really like the darker finishes. It just kind of makes the space feel like heavier, I guess. I don't know. I say as I have all this black furniture in here, but we really like the lighter kitchens, either like white or like a gray or unfinished type wood situation. And then natural light, and then close to grocery stores. I don't eat out a whole lot. I mostly cook, so I don't really want to be driving like 30 minutes to and from like a Whole Foods or something. And then finally, we're hoping to be around like younger residents since we are fresh graduates. And then finally, our budget. Right now it's $2,100. Anything below that would be ideal, but that's what we were capping at as we were looking. Again, we're still figuring out the whole employment situation. So everything we looked at, I think, falls within that budget. Some things were under the budget. I'm gonna try and remember which ones were which as I'm going through this. I will not be telling you the exact names of these apartments because hopefully we will end up at one of these, and just for privacy reasons I feel better not saying. But yeah. So, day one, we saw 2 apartments. I'm going to be showing you one. The first one, I liked the first one fine. It just was kind of small, and also, like, there was the ones that there was, like, not a leasing agent, but, the ones where it was, like, a guided tour, I kind of was less comfortable filming as much, just because they're, like, over your shoulder, you know what I'm saying, so... Yeah, anyway, but we did like this second one. It was a 1-bedroom because it was like the model version, I guess. And we liked this one. It did have the darker cabinets, which I didn't love, but the space did feel pretty open. The living room was pretty big. I feel like the bedroom was a decent size. Yeah, overall it was nice. It wasn't like my favorite finishes, but it was a nice place. Problem with this one was I think it was at the top of our budget, plus they didn't have any 2-bedroom openings that they could see. I think they can only look like 90 days ahead. Yeah. That one was not really an option for the moment, but since we also knew we weren't looking to move in right away, we liked the location of this apartment. So now moving on to day 2. So on day 2 we saw 2 apartments, and we actually really liked both of these, but this first one, so this was at the time our favorite for a while. We really liked the gray kitchen. It was like not white, so it wasn't gonna get dirty, but it still felt really bright and open. The layout was really cool because, as you can see, it wasn't just like a grid sort of thing. It was like the bedroom, like one bedroom was on this side, then you went all the way through the living room to the other bedroom, the kitchen, and then the balcony. It was more of like a, because it was the first floor, but because it was on the ground, it was like extended more, if that makes sense. So it was really big. The bedrooms were good sizes. I think they were close to equal, but one was definitely the master, but like it wasn't so big of a difference that we were like, we don't like this, you know what I'm saying? So we did really like this one. The problem with this one was the price. So the prices don't like just stay. It's not like 2 bedrooms are always this much. It's a certain amount depending on how many are available. So like a week before when I think I first looked at this apartment, there were more available. So the price was within our budget, but it jumped out of our budget by the time we were looking at it. So that was the downside of this one. I think it was like $2,400 or something. The next one, it was actually owned by the same company, so it looks very similar inside. It was a different layout, and I think it was smaller. The bedrooms were, I think it was still the same situation with the master and a guest bedroom. Again, it wasn't a huge difference because, like I said, it was owned by the same company, so they kind of kept them consistent. Problem with this one was it was right by the airport, and like literally walking from the office to the apartment, like we couldn't hear the guide for the tour like at all outside because the planes were so loud. So we were kind of like, this is, before we even saw it, we were like, this is probably not going to work, but you know, it was worth seeing. It did have a really big balcony, which was really nice.
Whiskey sour in your breath, don't want you any less. Ribbon bitten by your teeth. Turn me around, me too. Turn me around, me too. Whiskey sour in your breath, don't want
on to day 3. And this apartment, I don't know why, I have like no clips of it, but it was our absolute favorite. There's only like 3 clips. Yeah, we loved this apartment. The location was really cool. It was definitely closer to a downtown. They did only let us stay a 1-bedroom, so we didn't technically see the 2-bedroom, but they had one of those like virtual walkthrough tours that we could do while we were there. But yeah, everything about it was kind of perfect. It felt very open. The bedroom was a really good size. And I think also something to keep in mind from seeing these clips, they always put a king-size bed in there, which neither of us planned to have a king-size bed. We're thinking more like a full. So that should give us even more floor space. This one, I had like no complaints. The only thing that we kind of thought about was it's located in a place that at one point in time was maybe not the safest. So we probably need to do a little bit more research on that. But it felt like there was good security around it. There was like gates around the parking and that sort of thing. And it was in our budget, so that was really great. So yeah, if we were signing right now, this would 100% be the one we signed for. So moving on to, I guess, day 4 now. We saw 2 on this day, and they were actually within walking distance of each other. The funny thing is, like, the first one just felt like the nicer version of the second one, and the prices reflected that. It did have the darker cabinets, I think, in both of them, and the bedrooms were a good size. And like I said, I think the first one, the price was at the like top of our budget. It may have been slightly over, but then the second one was well within our budget, which was really nice. And I feel like the first one had pretty good amenities, like the gym was really nice. All of these had some form of gym. We also, the one that we really liked had a really great gym, and it had like a whole like yoga studio and everything upstairs, so that was pretty great. But yeah, so those are the apartments we saw. Like I said, we are not signing at the moment because we're still figuring some things out. Hopefully we will end up going with one of these. But yeah, if you have any opinions or advice for apartment hunting, I'd love to hear it. So feel free to leave that in the comments. Yeah, so make sure you like the video, comment if you want, subscribe would be even better. And also, I am a photographer and an artist, so if you want to check out any of my artwork or my photography, my portfolio and Instagram and all that stuff is in the description now. But yeah, stay tuned for more videos. Bye.